Good day, all of you, and God bless. My name is Dr. Alex British Chinedu Tasie from Ishebu community in Ikwere local government area of Rivers State of Nigeria, West Africa. And by the grace of God, I am a writer, a musician, a filmmaker, a football coach, a historian, and a multidimensional thinker. I am also a self-appointed, self-acclaimed president of the Nigerian semi-educated class. The class of the Nigerian people that you think and say are not well-educated people, are not highly educated people in Nigeria. I am a proud, self-appointed, and self-acclaimed president of that group in Nigeria. This section is a continuation, of the previous sections, where I unveiled some of my presidential manifestos, some of the things that I intend to do for the people of Nigeria if given the opportunity to become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria come the year 2031. Some people have asked me what I intend to do concerning the issue of official corruption in Nigeria. Well, official corruption is endemic in Nigeria. It has been there from the year of 1960 to this day. Official corruption is there. In fact, it is one of the greatest challenges facing Nigeria. In the year of 1966, the military staged a coup d'etat, a purge, and sacked, dethroned, overthrew, and usurped the legitimate government of the First Republic as headed by Alhaji Tafawa Balewa. One of the grievous offenses that triggered the military to carry out that action was that of official corruption. Nigeria is poor not because the resources that give Nigeria money have depleted or have been exhausted. No, Nigeria is poor because of official corruption. People who find themselves in political power, in political service, carry out case activities. They plunder and pillage the resources of this country. They involve in stealing and embezzling the resources of this country. They are improvident in character, and the money they make, they use to emasculate the Nigerian populace, weaken them, torture them, send them into abject penury, impoverish them. That is why Nigeria is in this mess. It is not because Nigeria as a country, does not have the resources to continue to prosper and to grow. So, as a person who aspires to govern Nigeria come the year 2031, I have an option. I have a solution, to use to stamp out official corruption from the face of Nigeria, to stem official corruption, administrative corruption in Nigeria. And that method is the Chinese way of curtailing, stamping out corruption in China. And that method is crude method, and that is amputation. In my administration, I am going to introduce amputation as the solution to the issue of corruption in Nigeria. In China, people don't steal government money. People don't mismanage government resources. People don't embezzle the money of the public. In Nigeria, people think that the money of government is their money. In Nigeria, people don't earn money. A majority of them, they don't earn money. They make money. So the money they make is the money that they steal from the coffers of the government. So my administration will borrow the Chinese method, which is amputation. Any Nigerian that is found liable, guilty, and culpable, stealing the resources of this country, his or her two hands will be cut off. That is what I am going to do. I am going to cut off the two hands of any Nigerian that is found liable, guilty of embezzling and mismanaging the resources of this great country. And that is the solution to the problem of official corruption in Nigeria. When I cut off your two hands, you will not have the hands to eat that money. That is the approach that I am going to adopt, because I am aware that previous governments in Nigeria have made concerted efforts, to control the issue of official corruption in Nigeria, and all have been, come to no avail. So in my administration, the effective method to employ to stamp out corruption, in Nigeria is that of amputation. And that is what I am going to do. If you like, vote for me. If you like, don't vote for me. I am telling you my mind. That is what I am going to do to this malice called, official corruption, administrative corruption. The issue of adulteration of goods and commodities in Nigeria is a serious issue, and it is ravaging the Nigerian society. Goods and commodities that are imported from abroad, originally made and imported from abroad, and the ones that are originally produced in Nigeria also have been faked, have been adulterated by criminals in Nigeria who come mostly from a particular zone in this country. I will use the military to fight them. I will use the military to eradicate adulteration of goods and commodities in Nigeria. And what I am going to do is, anyone that is found guilty of adulterating goods and commodities will have one of his arms cut off. That is also the solution to this problem. Because when you go to our hospitals, you see so many people with kidney problems as a result of what they drink and the food they eat. People, because they want to make money, endanger the lives of the Nigerian people. My administration will not tolerate that anymore. It is a serious matter. I have identified it, and I am going to, bring it to a halt in Nigeria. The judiciary is a federal arm, of government. It is an independent arm of government at the federal level and also at the state level. The judiciary has a challenge in Nigeria. Judicial rascality, abuses, recklessnesses, extremes will be controlled and curtailed in my administration. People will not give judgments the way they like, the way it pleases them, and get away with it. Almost every judgment dispensed at our courts will be interrogated by a panel that I am going to set. The panel will scrutinize every judgment that is being dispensed and see whether it has merit and quality. That is what I am going to do to bring sanity in the judiciary in Nigeria. People shop and buy judgment in Nigeria, and that is not healthy for us. So that will not exist in my administration. My administration will make sure that the judiciary is independent and exercises its functions independently, but the judiciary will not be reckless in its behavior. In addition, I am going to establish a judicial police for the judiciary. The judicial police will carry out the orders and pronouncements of the courts. Whatever pronouncement, whatever order the court gives, the judicial police will enforce that pronouncement, will enforce that order. The judiciary will not go to the Nigerian police to help enforce its pronouncements and orders. It will be carried out by an arm of the judiciary. That is the only way to remove the judiciary from the abuses, impunities of the executive. Judiciary will be totally independent, and I am going to make sure that judiciary has a good image in Nigeria. In the area of education, I am going to do something about the education sector in Nigeria. That sector also has a challenge. What I am going to do is that I am going to introduce more of practical and technical education than the theoretical one we have in Nigeria. Nigeria will be engaged in more practical and technical education than the theoretical education that is prevalent in Nigeria. So I am going to encourage partnership from outside Nigeria to come and partner with our institutions, especially tertiary institutions in Nigeria, and see how to create technical, practical basis for our higher institutions. There will be collaboration with international organizations to come and partner with our higher institutions in order to raise the technical and technical base of our education, where the tertiary institution will graduate people that will become self-reliant when they come out from higher institutions, rather than becoming people who will depend on the government after their education. That is what I am going to do. So Nigeria will go into practical and technical education rather than the theoretical kind of education that we have in Nigeria. And I am also, in addition, going to expunge some of the courses that have no economic viability in Nigeria. People will not go to study courses, disciplines, studies that when they graduate from the higher institution, they will have no job. They will not be relevant in the economic market. That I am going to remove. Courses like English, French, German, theology, religion, and all that will be expunged from the school curriculum. And courses that stimulate viability, that encourage economic growth, will be integrated into our tertiary institutions in Nigeria. And that is what I am going to do. And the lecturers in the university will be veered towards some projects for our people, rather than teaching in the classroom. Professionals in the university environment will go into big researches for the government and for the people of this country to enhance growth and productivity in the system. I will not agree and allow our lecturers to only teach in the university and take salary. All that they have practiced will be just to take salary from the government. To become a professor is not an easy thing. To become a PhD holder, to even go to the university is not an easy thing. So it is not enough to teach in the university, retire and go back to your houses. No, I am going to fund researches. I'm going to encourage the professors, the lecturers, the professionals in the academic environment to go into stronger and better researches for our nation. That is what I am going to do in that area. The issue of government recognizing the people, who are vulnerable will be there. My administration will recognize people who are deficient physically, and they call them the physical challenge or physically challenged people. I am going to recognize that they are also human beings in Nigeria. The government will create a special program where they will be giving trainings, where they will be giving government support to help, live their lives. That is what I am going to do. So in my administration, I'm going to recognize that such persons are also Nigerians and they need government support. In my administration, I'm going to introduce social security scheme for our people. The social security scheme is an intervention program that my administration will initiate and introduce. The social security scheme will be for people who do not have anything doing at the moment. who are eligible, qualified to do something, but there is no job for them to do. And for that reason, they are unemployed. So the social security scheme will give stipends to every Nigerian, who do not have a job to do at the end of the month to keep life going. There is no sense that in the same environment that all of us live in, some people will work, some people will not work. For those that do not have, anything to do as a result of one physical challenge or the other, or as a result of one reason or the other, the government will be by their side. Someone who is hungry is an angry person and can pose as a dangerous element in the society. My government will be a people-oriented government, a people-friendly government. Those who do not have jobs to do at the moment will be given government support at the end of every month, which is called a stipend. It is not easy for someone to stay without a job and also without money in his or her pocket. So that will not exist in my government, because people are groused, with government, because government does not provide succor for them. So I am going to alleviate, the sufferings of the people who do not have jobs. Some people have Abraham as father, others do not have. So when you are privileged to have a job, also remember that there are people in Nigeria who do not have anything to do. So the government will have to recognize that such persons are in Nigeria and will give them support so that they can find some succor. That is what my administration is going to do. I am going to recognize that these persons are also Nigerian people. If you do not have anything to do, in the immediate, at the moment, my government, my administration will give you some finances, some money at the end of the month called stipend to keep life going. When you get something doing, then we can hold that scheme for you. That is how it is going to work in my administration. I don't want people to begin to go about with grievances anymore as they do presently in Nigeria. My administration will recognize that such persons do exist in Nigeria. That is what I am going to do. Nigeria has also a challenge. What I intend to do to solve some of the glitches, the anomalies, the deficiencies in Nigeria as caused, as occasioned by lack of quality political leadership, is to create an enabling environment for every Nigerian to live. Every Nigerian will have to be happy, be safe, and secure in the political circumscription called Nigeria. The abuses, the impunities of government officers and officials will cease in my administration. So what I intend to do is that I am going to establish a separate security, apparatus, outfit, organization that will carry arms to control the excesses, the impunities, of government workers. I am going to establish another agency of government that will carry arms, which will serve as an oversight, agency for those in government. The atrocities, the extremes that we see, that we notice in government will be a thing of the past. So I am going to establish a separate government agency with the statutory responsibility to checkmate the excesses, the extremes of government workers, officers, and officials. This particular government agency will interrogate, investigate, detain, and arrest, and also prosecute people who err while in service. It is only for government workers, as we have the EFCC, for corrupt politicians. This particular agency will go after those who err while in government service. I want the Nigerian people to share themselves of the fears that they have in the politics called Nigeria as a result of the excesses, the extremes, the recklessnesses, the impunities of government workers. This particular government agency will take complaints from Nigerians when they are abused and will have to invite, interrogate, investigate, arrest and detain, and also prosecute any government worker who is apart from the military. The military is the only organization that this government agency cannot arrest. Anyone that is in the police, in the judiciary, in any portal and segment of government will have to be interrogated, will have to be arrested, will also have to be prosecuted by this government agency. The issue of nothing go happen will be a thing of the past in my administration. No Nigerian government worker at the state level, at the federal government level, will abuse any Nigerian and go scot-free. This particular government agency will go after any Nigerian worker, any Nigerian government worker who abuses any Nigerian, and so also help to seek for redress for that person. Government impunities, government excesses should be addressed and curtailed. Officials of government should not be left to do things the way they want it without being controlled. So this government agency that I am going to establish will help to protect the Nigerian people and also control their fears. That is what I am going to do. No Nigerian will fear again because there will be an agency of government to go and report to. And that agency of government will sweep into action and see how that issue can be handled. So the issue of nothing go happen will be a thing of the past in my administration. That is what I assure every Nigerian will take place in my administration. As I have said, I have reasons why I want to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is not to look for money or to assert power, but to use the office of the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to blot away all these anomalies, all these incongruous behaviors that take place in Nigeria. And that is what I will strive to achieve. In Nigeria, there is issue of land grabbing, chieftaincy problems, land tussles here and there. These issues will be determined at minor and lower courts that I am going to establish. It will be a different court from the regular court that we have in Nigeria. This particular court, within a period of 1 year, will investigate and determine any matter concerning chieftaincy tussle. land matter, land grabbing, and all that. Things that concern the communal people, at the grassroots level, will be treated and determined at that court. Chieftaincy matters, land matters, and others will not be taken up to the Supreme Court, where they will stay there for years without being attended to. So I am going to establish a lower court, a special court to handle issues of chieftaincy tussles, land litigations and all that, land grabbing and all that. So that is what I am going to do in that area. Nigeria is a big country. Nigeria is supposed to compete with the rest of the world. But you see, the anachronistic method of governance has been in vogue from 1960 to this day. Many countries of the world are moving forward, injecting great ideas into their systems. And those ideas are really bringing the dynamics for positive changes. But in Nigeria, they are still redundant. The people who manage the political affairs of this country, who are entrusted into their care the resources of this country to manage on behalf of the rest of the Nigerian populace, do whatever they want and get away with it. My administration will never tolerate that. I am going to work with the military to bring sanity into Nigeria. Every Nigerian will respect Nigeria as a nation. And the people who work for Nigeria will respect the citizens of this country as integral parts of this country. They will not treat them as animals because they do not have money, they do not also have power. That is incipient to do and is not healthy for progress and prosperity of any nation in the world. I am the Messiah coming to salvage the woes of this country. So I appeal to all of you to vote for me, to support me, become the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria come the year 2031. As I have said, there is no other political office in Nigeria that can treat and deal with the issues challenging our country, apart from the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I appeal to you, your consciences, to bring me on board as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There are sundry, of issues challenging Nigeria, and I have identified almost all of them, and I'm going to treat them accordingly. My administration will recognize every Nigerian as an important citizen of this country. Nobody will have fears because the country is for all of us, not for a few people. The country is for the Nigerian people. And I say to you, Inshallah, God by my side, I am going to be the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria come the year 2031. There is no mountain that is too big that cannot be surmounted when God is there. No big and genuine dream that cannot be watered when God is there. Do your own part and leave the rest to God Almighty. Thank you. And Omega, the Nigerian people.